Welcome to Containerized Conversations, where we try to containerize our conversation. I'm Jessica Caffarelli.
And I'm Josh Warhurst. Thanks for tuning in as we dive into some of our favorite topics, one containerized thought at a time. Jesse, this is 7 Habits. We're now on the paradigms of interdependence. This is part 3 of the book, where we talk about public victory. So the first
page
parts of this,
215.
the first part of this book was all about effectively changing yourself and seeing the world differently through developing yourself. And now we move to how you can relate to other people better.
Yeah. So I really wanted to have a whole episode just on this section because this
we're doing it.
this paradigms of interdependence is really small. It goes from 215 to 234, so it's like only 20 pages, math. But I think this is one of the things that changed my life for the positive, because it's a really helpful tool, especially for someone like me who's like very, I don't know, analytical, I guess you would say, especially about relationships. It really gave me the ability to look at relationships in a very positive way and understand where I might stand with someone or might not stand with them based off of this tool. So this chapter is the biggest focus is just developing this idea of an emotional piggy bank. And we talked about this actually in one of our episodes.
We did
previously about building effective relationships. And I actually told you that you do a really good job at this, just kind of without even knowing about it. So, tell me, what did you think about this chapter?
So, okay, there's a couple of pieces before the emotional piggy bank. He mentions that you need to be independent before you become interdependent, right?
Yeah.
So you need to actually be confident. You need to be someone with integrity. You've got to understand what you stand for before you actually go and do your best relationships with other people, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of people who have terrible character who also, by necessity, make relationships with other people. But his whole point is you got to be focusing on being the best person before you come to these things, understanding that you're the controller of your own destiny, that you have goals in life, and that you're working towards those goals. And that you can't just start relationships without developing your own character. So I think that's really important. The emotional piggy bank, to your point, is a really interesting concept because I think it does help people see their relationships with other people as something that they need to be building and not just withdrawing from, right?
Or even just understanding that you are withdrawing from them, right?
Right. That all relationships are...
They're just accounts, bank accounts.
Right?
Yeah.
So he has this concept of like the different ways to deposit into a bank account. So, so the emotional bank account is effectively your relationship with other people. And so every person you can think of as a bank account. And that when you do things with that person, you are, as long as it's something that the other person is perceiving as beneficial, you're sort of depositing into their bank account, right?
Yeah.
And so he does make the point that you might like, say, spending a day playing video games, right?
Yeah.
But that for another person, even though that's how you might want to spend the day, for another person, that might be something that's withdrawing from their bank account, right?
Yeah.
They're spending effort to do this thing to
Yeah.
benefit the relationship, right? So
Yeah.
understanding what other people want and then giving that to them.
Yeah. There's a quote I actually have highlighted that I think hits on what you're talking about. And
Sure.
I have it highlighted because it frustrates me so much because people actually do this to me. And I especially now that I've read this book before and I understand the emotional piggy bank, it makes me even more frustrated when I recognize people do this to me. So let me read it to you. Um, our tendency is to project out of our own autobiographies what we think other people want or need. We project our intentions on the behaviors of others. We interpret what constitutes a deposit based on our own needs and desires, either now or when we were at similar age or stage in their life. If they do not interpret our effort as a deposit, our tendency is to take it as rejection of well intentioned effort and to give up. And not only that, but then get frustrated with me when I don't receive it well.
There's a concept that I want to say was running around the internet like 5 years ago. This idea of a love language. And the idea was that some people respond to things differently, and you
Yeah.
need to understand other people's love languages. And there was a lot of people who selfishly thought, "Oh, no, 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 no. I want other people to understand my love
Yeah.
language."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, I really appreciate it when people give gifts to me. And it's like, yes, that's really important that other
Yeah.
people understand that. But when you're thinking about this thing, you need to understand, what does the other person want?
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
focus on yourself. And part of this whole section, I think, is all about, you're already independent.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
already somebody who has value, who understands who they are. So now it's your time to build other relationships.
Yeah.
Don't focus on how they're helping you or not helping
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Focus on your relationship with them and how you can better that relationship.
And that's the thing. It's like I think that's the big thing to recognize in this chapter too, is when you are trying to build these relationships, if you fail, and you try to do something that you think they'll like because that's something that you like, and then they don't receive it well, don't get upset, don't get angry. Just recognize that you didn't understand right away what they take as deposits to their piggy bank, and figure it out. Try to
Yeah.
try to understand them some more.
So he lists 6 major deposits, right? I'm going to
Yeah.
go through these one by one. So one is understanding the individual. So really seeking to understand another person.
Which is what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Attending to the little things. So this is about realizing that it's not necessarily just the big events, but it's also the little things like, you know, maybe making somebody coffee in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Maybe putting somebody's shoes out when they're about to go outside,
Yeah,
right?
maybe walking around to their cubes and asking, how's your morning, right?
Yeah, yep. It's just the tiny things that
Yeah.
are not what you would ever classify as the major pieces,
Yeah.
right? But that actually might make something ultimately work.
Yeah.
Um, I often think about it kind of like sound design in movies and video games,
Yeah.
right? Which is that it's so minor, but if you don't have it,
Yeah.
it's terrible, right? Like, it
Yeah.
really just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
People notice when it doesn't, when it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Keeping commitments. He says, I don't want to make big promises if I can't keep them, so I try to keep promises pretty rare.
I actually have this one underlined as like I don't think he prioritized these properly. Like I honestly think keeping commitments and clarifying expectations are probably one of the two biggest things
Hmm.
that can withdraw or deposit into a piggy bank.
Yeah.
It's something so simple that you have full control over too. So especially the keeping the commitment part. Like yes, there's going to be times when extraordinary circumstances, but if if you don't think you can keep a commitment, don't make it. And if you make it, get yourself off the couch and go commit and finish that commitment, right? Whatever it is, you committed to hanging out with them, but now you're feeling lazy tonight, or you know,
And this can extend out to work, right? I
yeah.
mean, I think this is actually all these things.
Oh, for sure.
Work is life, life is work. That's
Yeah,
all kind of connected. But the whole thing about keeping commitments, right? If you One of the things I struggle with is over promising,
yeah,
right? Because in my mind I say, yeah, that should only take a week.
yeah,
And then it ends up taking a week and a half, 2 weeks,
yeah,
right? And I'm kind
yeah,
of breaking a commitment, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
need to realize where I should have just promised I'll have it done in 2 weeks,
yeah,
right? Giving myself that extra room and then actually delivering early is really nice, but it's something that I have struggled with in the past when it comes to technical things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um,
Well,
because
and
sometimes it just seemed like, oh, the easy path, I could get this done in 3 days.
yeah,
And it's just you realize then these tiny little things come by and you get a meeting and something else comes up outside of work, right?
yeah,
Now you have to leave work early to go do
yeah,
something.
yeah,
And now in 3 days you don't have this thing done.
yeah. Yeah, and well, and you also said you're also saying something that I think a lot of people don't really even think about, which is you should be building a relationship with your manager,
Mm.
right? It's your sure your manager should be doing this with you and should be, keeping track of his emotional piggy bank with you and making sure that he's doing the right deposits. But you should also be doing that with them as well. And
Yeah.
so when you make a commitment like that to your manager and then you you don't complete it in a week. You might not realize it, but you just withdrew from your manager's relationship bank, you
Yep.
know? And a
It
lot of us fall into a trap where we think managers, you know, should be serving us, not the other way around.
it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
His quote, I'm gonna read this section. "Occasionally, despite all my effort, the unexpected does come up,
Yeah.
creating a situation where it would be unwise or impossible to keep a promise I have made. But I value that promise. I either keep it anyway or explain the situation thoroughly to the person involved and ask to be released from the promise." Right? And I think if you do fail to make a promise, like let's say again, you tell your manager, I can have this done in 3 days.
Yeah.
Day 3 hits, day 4 hits. He's not barking down the neck because he knows that he's probably budgeted 5 days. He says,
Yeah.
"This person gave 3 days. It would be great if they hit their promises, but I'm not expecting it."
Yeah.
But it's nice to go and talk to the manager and say, "Hey, you know what? Like, I really thought that this would be the case, and it's not the
Yeah.
case." And being honest, right? Some of the other deposits that he mentions
Yeah.
is clarifying expectations, which is being really clear. I think that's also, to your point, it's a very strong business,
Yeah.
um, a way of, not just assuming that somebody understands where their job role is, but that we're both talking about it and making sure it's really clear
Yeah.
and that we're not judging them on things that we haven't talked about.
Yeah. 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 I mean, expectations in general, wrong expectations cause huge withdrawals. And sometimes you don't even recognize, because that's the thing, is the whole point of it being a wrong expectation is that you think you're on one page and then the person's on a different page. And it can cause huge problems and you don't even know it. That's the
Yeah.
big problem. If you can't keep track of those bank accounts, that's why I think this is huge, because setting proper expectations early and often makes it so that you can keep track of those relationships a lot easier.
Yeah. So this may be a little bit too personal, but so with marriage, I think a lot of times people assume that the other person that they married, as often if they're from, like, the exact same culture, they're like, "Oh, you assume that I know what I want out of this relationship," right? And I'm assuming that I know what you want out of this relationship, and there's a lot of assumptions going on. My wife and I are from different cultures,
Yeah.
and sometimes we realize implicitly that, like, the thing that we're expecting is not necessarily what the other person is expecting,
Yeah.
and we talk about that,
Yeah.
and we clarify what that expectation is, and that's really important because we don't just assume. Relationships that span different cultures can be easier
Yeah.
because you're not falling into the trap of, "Why didn't that person just understand what I'm thinking?"
Yeah.
But the fact is we have to have that conversation. "Oh, that's what you're thinking?
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking." "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Now we can go and continue this conversation."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think that's like a very obvious example of expectations being misaligned. And that's the thing is like when you enter into a perfect example is entering into a relationship. There are some very obvious rules that you need to follow and don't follow. But like those are obvious to us, but maybe not to like everybody.
Going back to habit number 2, the family mission statement was something that when I read the chapter, I was like, "My wife and I, do we agree on what we want out of our family?
Yeah.
Do we know what we want out of our child's life?"
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
kind of both talked about this, but we haven't written it down, and
Yeah.
I think it was really important with the mission statement to kind of clarify that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
Another deposit is showing personal integrity, which is effectively making sure that you behave the same way in all situations.
I think the powerful paragraph in here that nails it is one of the most important ways to manifest integrity is to be loyal to those who are not present.
Mm,
In doing
yes.
so, we build the trust of those who are present. When you defend those who are absent, you retain the trust of those present. So I think that's like an obvious one, or I think that one nails the whole this whole like way to deposit down, which is just simply like don't talk, behind people's backs, and not only don't talk about people, but also defend people who aren't there, right? If
Mhm.
someone is dragging someone through the mud, defend them.
Yep.
Say, "Hey, that's not right. Maybe they're having an off time. Maybe they don't know how to do this. Maybe we just haven't taught them how to do it properly." Just simple little things that can change the conversation.
Yep. And again, this shouldn't be something that you're faking. Like, you
Yeah.
need to build this into a habit where you know, somebody flips you off and you say to somebody, "I guess they're having a bad day." And you're just saying that because you're trying to,
Yeah.
get on the good sides of somebody, like, they'll detect it. But if you truly believe it, like, "Oh, that person is just having a bad day," and you
Yeah.
say that to somebody else, they might detect, "You know what? This person actually is very kind to other people. They're gonna be kind to me if I mess up." And
Yeah.
that's a good way of filling the bank. The last one that he mentions is apologizing sincerely when you make a withdrawal. Withdrawals in this case are things like anytime you're actually making the relationship worse, if you will.
Yeah.
Typically, how I think of emotional bank accounts is you're always trying to make the relationship better, right?
Yeah.
You're always trying to do things that make other people want to spend time with you. For instance, a withdrawal is probably me not editing podcast episodes with you, right? Like,
Mm,
I mean, these things definitely do hurt the relationship.
yeah.
And this whole apologizing sincerely when you make a withdrawal, right, is actually being serious. Like, I should have edited that
Mm,
podcast episode,
yeah. Yeah.
right? Like, and not
Yeah.
just say it, right? But like actually mean it. I
Yeah. Well,
think
sometimes actions speak louder than words.
100%. But right, just edit one of those podcast episodes. No, you're right. You're right. But But in lieu of that, or in addition to that, you should also make real apologies, not like half apologies where you're like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sorry, but like my life's really busy right now, right? If
Yeah.
you say some things like that, like it just feels kind of like you don't even respect the other person's time.
Yeah. I think the other thing he doesn't talk about in here is, for me, like, I am constantly striving to understand how to keep my like, put deposits into the relationships I have at work. And the reason is because I know for a fact there is going to be situations where I have to withdraw, right?
Mhm.
Like, giving feedback on something, that like constructive criticism, is a withdrawal.
Mhm.
It is very hard to give criticism and not have it be a withdrawal from the bank. And so, but it's also really important to give that type of feedback and criticism, because that's how they grow. And yeah, you shouldn't do it all the time. And a lot of times it's easier for them to learn through failures. But there, as a leader, there will be times where you have to make withdrawals. And
Yeah.
so you have to make sure you're positive when you do that, because if you ever go negative into the bank, it's just it goes even worse, right? Because when you go negative, it's like you're withdrawing 5 times instead of once. That's what, at
Mm.
least that's what I find with the relationships I have. So I always am striving to keep positive balances, just so that I can have that reserve for when I really truly need to use them. And
Yeah.
maybe I don't need to use them, and maybe, sometimes that criticism is well received and it isn't a withdrawal and it is just fine. But I found, for me to be an effective leader, I need to do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, the goal here is to maintain positive balances, right?
Yeah.
It becomes really difficult. I mean, we've all walked into a meeting where we recognize the problem that
Yeah.
exists in the organization, right?
Yeah.
And we have good relationships with 3 out of the 5 people in the room,
Yeah.
right? Those 2 other people, when we start talking about how we need to go and fix this problem,
Yeah.
they don't know us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're withdrawing, like their bank account, if you will, is going
Yeah.
negative, right?
Yeah.
They don't see us in a positive light
Yeah.
because we've done nothing for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's 100% true.
it can be really difficult in that room to actually win over those other people. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes you say 2 people, they're negative, 3 people, they're already positive, they might
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
your back. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
integrity, the fact that you're being honest, and the fact that other people have that good relationship with you, that might
Yeah.
be enough to win them over, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these bank accounts fluctuate. They're almost like not just bank accounts, they're like index funds, right? That they're
Yeah.
like um stock markets, right? Like
Yeah.
you might do nothing, but then because of how other people relate to you,
Yeah.
your values are going up.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
um
it. That's it, right? Because like just the simple act of people knowing who you are and your integrity, your positive integrity, can raise the stock market of your bank without you even knowing you're doing things. That is 100% true. So there are like techniques you can use. So, but just the simple act of knowing that there is a bank and knowing when you are withdrawing can change your relationships
Mm.
so much, right?
Yeah.
Now the other thing that I think I don't that didn't hit hard the last time I read this book, but it hit really hard when I did read this book, is the one of the last paragraphs. He talks about P problems are PC opportunities, right? And
Mhm.
I he talks about how good parents will look at like hard situations that they're dealing with their child, and instead of looking at it in a negative way, like, man, this is frustrating, I hate dealing with this, you look at it as this is a great opportunity for us to grow our relationship, right?
Can I say I'm 100% in the same camp as you. I read this chapter like last night,
Yeah,
and they have this statement. When a child comes to them, to parents with a problem, instead of thinking, oh no, not another problem, their paradigm is, here's a great opportunity for me to really help my child and to invest in our relationship. And many interactions change from transactional to transformational, and strong bonds of love and trust are created as children sense the value parents give to their problems and to them as individuals. I read that, and like the next day when I was playing with my daughter, I was like, yeah, like I should really be focusing on this is like us time and like
yeah,
building this relationship.
yeah,
And cuz I was tired at the end of the day. I
yeah,
was annoyed at something that she was doing.
yeah,
But I did, like, I sat back and said and really thought about this quote, and I did totally change my behavior.
yeah,
And I started playing with her in a way that I haven't played with her before,
yeah,
in a good way, like trying to build that relationship,
yeah,
and it was really positive. I honestly, I'm in the same camp as you. I
yeah.
read this quote and I said, "You know what? We're gonna think of
Well,
this as a relationship we wanna
and
build."
the same thing can be applied at work too, right?
Mm,
If you are entering into, if you have a debate with someone and afterwards you just don't feel great about it because you just had a conflict, you're thinking about it wrong. Every conflict you have with a coworker is a great opportunity for you guys to build a relationship,
mhm.
you know? And when I say conflict, I'm not talking about, you guys should still be respectful and you don't be rude to them. But there are conversations you can have where there's disagreements. And like for me, I'll walk away from those and I'll feel terrible because, I don't like having disagreements. I don't like having confrontation. With that being said, yeah, it's because I'm looking at it wrong.
Mhm.
I should look at it positively. I just had a very great opportunity to build a relationship with someone who I might not have been able to in the past. Right.
Right.
And if you think about it like that, and think about it less as like, what you might have done in the past, which is I'm going to win this argument. I'm going to win this debate. I am right. Technically, I am technically stronger than this person. But if you stop thinking about that like that and think about it as more of, hey, um, how can I turn this opportunity into a deposit into the bank? Right now, all of a sudden that you've completely changed. Your thought process is completely different, you
Yeah.
know? So
And
yeah.
one thing, there's a lot of times where relationships with friends, largely the relationship is something that you're just maintaining. With work, it's really interesting because I think a lot of times you meet people in work and you might say, am I ever going to meet this person again?
Yeah.
Right? Does it make sense to build this relationship? But for a lot of people, like, I would just say, yes,
Yeah.
right? You might you might see this person at another job in 20 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You might never see this person again, but having that habit of treating them like they're going to be somebody that you see at your next job. I mean, I knew somebody who every time he joined a company, he'd be like, "Oh, that's that person from that
Yeah.
company, and that's that
Yeah.
person from that company." And
Yeah.
it's like even if they didn't have a relationship built from their previous, companies.
Yeah.
The fact is, like, when you continue to build these relationships with other people, it's kind of like that 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna bleed into everything else.
Yeah.
So, I would just treat everybody like they're going to be with you your entire career, right?
I mean,
Because a lot of
do
people
you
will.
Do you not remember this is literally a quote from our episode about relationship building? Yeah,
Whatever, man.
the quote you literally said was that every person you meet today could be your potential best friend in the future. So treat them like they will be your best friend.
Yeah, I guess this is an extension of the quote, which
Yeah, it
is
is.
that treat everybody like you will be working with them in
Yeah.
15 years, right?
Everybody you meet could be your lifelong best friend.
Yep. Or
So
they could
treat
be
them
that
accordingly.
person at town meeting that you strongly disagree with, but you have to have a mutual relationship with
Yeah.
because you both care about this town strongly.
Listen,
So,
disagreeing with them is a great opportunity for you both to grow.
fair enough. And that's actually a really good point, right? Which is that a lot of people, they see disagreement as a place to stop the relationship,
Yeah.
right? And instead, it could be an opportunity to get closer.
Well, I think not stop the relationship. That might be a little too dramatic, but at the very least, you walk away and you're like, oh, that hurt my relationship with them. And if that is true, maybe it is true. Maybe if you acted accordingly during that, potential conflict in a very bad way that could have withdrawn, just recognize it for the future and think about, hey, how could I turn this into an opportunity to grow and deposit into the relationship, not destroy it and withdraw.
I don't want to compare people to restaurants, right?
Okay, then
but
don't.
but I'm going to for a second, which is that if you go to a restaurant for the first time and you have a good experience, right?
Yeah,
You're likely to go back
yeah,
again in the future.
yeah,
And if the second experience isn't that good,
yeah,
you can still rely on the fact that the first experience was good to say, you know what, maybe they're having an off day today, but
yeah,
like this is still a solid restaurant. But
yeah,
if you have those experiences in the opposite order,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
where you go over the first time and you have a bad experience, you're never going to go back for the second
yeah,
experience
yeah, yeah,
where maybe they were doing it good, right?
yeah,
Maybe they actually, that was their bad day the first time you went, and every time you go in the future, it's going to be great, right? Ideally, you want to put your best foot forward with every
yeah,
relationship because you don't want the situation where they just see you as somebody not worth that deposit,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um,
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I treat my life like Gordon Ramsay going into a restaurant for the first time. I scream,
Interesting.
bloody hell, what is this? Slam
Go
the food on the ground and walk out.
take some pot and throw it against the wall. This
Are you
isn't
an
a
Indian
pot.
sandwich?
Jesus. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we all, I don't know what to say.
I'm going to cut that part out, but man, do I want to keep it in there.
Yeah, no, it's just important to build relationships before you withdraw from them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like to the other point in one of these paragraphs, another thing that can irritate me sometimes is when a manager has a one-on-one with you but then cancels it, but doesn't actually like even ask you if it's okay or even tell you, they just cancel it. Yeah, I think I don't know, like it gets back to like the small things. I don't think,
And
to
keeping
them.
promises.
Yeah, and keep it promises. And again, it's small. It's not like I that happens and I go grrr, like it's like, but it is like it's one thing I wish they recognize, that it is a withdrawal. It's a small withdrawal, right? It's not a big, if especially if it only happens like once or twice, but it is a withdrawal, right? It is kind of a thing, especially if you're excited and you're looking forward to it, and then they cancel it, and then they cancel your next three more, and then you're just like, okay, well, should we just cancel this forever? Or
You you are 100% right though.
yeah,
That the one-on-ones, I think they're such a good thing for organizations, right?
yeah,
having managers meet with the subordinates, right? Like,
Yeah.
you really, it does such a good thing for that relationship. And I think most people in most organizations benefit from it, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are some people who don't, right? There are
Yeah.
some people who are like, oh, what do I even talk about for the next 15 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
but a lot of people, myself included, yourself included, probably,
Yeah.
when a manager cancels that one-on-one because they're like, oh, hey, I had this meeting that came up and like whatever, I canceled it. Canceling it is actually, like you said, it's a withdrawal, and they're
Yeah.
thinking of this as a nothing event.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. It's not an opportunity to make a relationship better. It actually, by canceling it, it makes the relationship worse,
Yeah.
right? Now,
Yeah.
if you go and instantly schedule, you say, hey, we're just moving it back 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No harm, right? That's
Yeah.
probably your relationship is going to be improved. But there are a lot of managers I feel that have canceled one-on-ones and thought of it as a nothing event
Yeah.
because some other meeting was more important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So
really,
I got a
it was
great
a
review.
quadrant 2 activity
That's what I was gonna
that
say.
they canceled
They
for a
canceled their
quadrant 3
quadrant 2
activity.
event for quadrant 3. Yeah. Yeah.
We're all on
Yeah.
the same page here.
It's building blocks, man. This book is, I can't wait to see the finale. Thank you for our listeners for joining us again. Next week we will continue on with the habits. We'll move on to habit 4. Page 236 to wherever this habit ends. So if you
Habits
haven't
continue on forever, Jesse.
if you haven't read it yet, go read it before you listen to our next episode. You have a week to finish it if you're listening to us in order, and if you're not, well, just hold off on listening to the next one until you read it. And that was our containerized conversation. I'm Jesse Caffarelli.
I'm Josh Warhurst. Have a great night.